Hi, friends. That's Rachel. This guy here is Eric, and we're talking with famous people. The only YouTube channel in the world. That's that's why it's so successful. Because the entire audience of YouTube has only this channel to choose from. So, it gives me a bit of an advantage. Insurmountable, even. I command you to. How many people like to be commanded? Anybody? Anybody here? Do we have any fans of command? Personally, I'm not a huge fan of being commanded. Rachel was talking earlier about how she was watching a tarot, I guess, video that she wasn't very fond of, and it's because it had too much advice in it, which is sort of command light. Like, you should meow meow meow. It's command light. But
light, right?
Yeah, command light.
Yeah, because it is light. It is done in like a I'm just trying to be helpful kind of way.
Right. Instead of technically being a command, it's a purported description of a prescriptive state of affairs, which is to say, you should meow. But the other reason I was thinking about commands has to do with the um, idea I was stating earlier in a live stream that be good for goodness sakes is not sort of tautological. It is saying something other than be good for the sake of being good, which is not really a reason to be good, right? But that be good for goodness sakes is not tautological because it's a command. But then I started thinking, well, if you were to come up with something equivalent to tautology for a command, what would it be? And it would be, I command you to not follow my commands. In that instance, it's not exactly tautological, it's self-defeating, right? So you end up in a double bind in the sense that if you don't follow my commands, then you're obeying my command. And if you do follow my commands, then you can't obey my commands because I've commanded you not to, right? But that's really neither here nor there. It was just the brief thought I had the moment before I started streaming. It's not necessarily a topic that has a lot of exploration to be made in it. I wanted to live stream this evening because I was kind of tired of watching TV. I can tell I'm not going to stay up super late tonight. I feel I got a good night's sleep last night, but I feel on the tired-ish side. And I wouldn't say I had a long day. I had a really interesting conversation with my doctor, Dr. Ingram.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about that if you don't mind.
Well, I talked to him a little bit about how I feel like I'm waking up from an extended period of reduced ontological energy / expression, and And we ended up talking a great deal about what I meant when I said I'm very distant from my subjectivities.
Hmm.
So I explained what I meant. He tried to sort of convey that he thought I was unnecessarily hard on myself. I agreed that I was. I drew the distinction between self worth, self esteem, and self love, and talked to him a little bit about internal family systems. I asked him if he knew about it, and he said, "Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. I think he might use it himself. I don't know.
Hmm.
At least some of the time, he smiled in a way that suggested like it's one of his favorite things."
Oh, cool.
I mentioned that I thought that was effective for somebody like me who is rather distant from his subjectivities as a way of accessing them because instead of viewing your subjectivities as part of yourself, really, you're viewing them, positioning them as a third party so you have better access to them if that's how you normally pay attention, you
Hmm.
know. So, anyway, it's possible, conceivable, plausible, likely even maybe that people don't want to be commanded. In which case, I command you to, I don't want to hear what you're calling me. I refuse to go all that time. That's plausible. Although, really, if they're familiar with Eric and his ways, they should probably know that I'm not actually commanding them to do anything. I don't like issuing a lot of commands. I'm not incapable of being in a leadership capacity where you're like the boss or whatever. But, you know, I'd rather not be issuing commands. How are you guys feeling tonight after all? Um, After all, what? How am I feeling tonight? I'm feeling good, interested in life, a little tired. Um, I feel like tomorrow. Oh yeah, well we just went down the street. We went to do a home inspection. We opened escrow yesterday, so um, I was very pleased by what we saw. I was able to get
Hmm.
underneath the house today, and I was able to look at the foundation, see how the house is set up, and I was pleased by what I saw. Yes, the it's not it's not perfect. Like there is some cracking there, but I checked all of the floors; they're all level, and I we checked the plumbing. Plumbing seems to work fine. We checked all the appliances. I looked at the ceiling all around the house to see if there were any um, signs of the roof leaking or anything, and there weren't. Everything seemed to check out as kosher. High first last, high show media,
Hi, first last.
and you have crooked floors here. Yeah, well, that's what I read in my research about foundation cracks and stuff is that basically they're fairly common. How serious they are is hard to determine, but that if the floors are all level, you should be fine. So I checked to make sure that the house was level in multiple spots throughout the house. It's all level. The wood looks all really good. I don't see any rot on it or anywhere. Um, there's some things that I need to address. Like ridiculously, they have their rain gutter emptying out on top of their roof and then emptying it, just running down the roof into another rain gutter. and stuff like that. So there's a couple things I gotta address once we own the place. But the septic inspection and pumping is supposed to occur tomorrow. I'll be very interested to hear an update after the realtor gets some information about what the septic inspection showed and said, etc. So yeah, I thought boring ass real estate stuff. Really, real estate is not interesting. It's not fun, but it's what we're doing right now. So
It's kind of fun watching House Hunters, though.
yeah, well, I think once we actually get this place, there'll be some fun aspects to it as we sort of get it ready for renting and vacation rental.
Mhm.
Maybe what's the word? Glamour it up a little bit, or quaint it up a little bit. It's conceivable that we might want to paint the ceiling in that bathroom, for example, which looks kind of dirty. I think it's actually not dirty. I think they
I
did
think
this
it's
weird,
just like supposed to be stylized.
yeah, this weird stylized thing that basically looks like it's dirty.
I know, it does look like it's dirty. I
It's-
thought the same thing, but I was like, no, it's just painted that way.
It's stylized. The style is dirty.
Yeah, and it has like popcorn ceilings.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to do anything
Yeah,
about the
too.
popcorn ceiling.
eh.
No, we know that's hardly anything.
It's hardly.
There's
It's
a little
real
texture. There's a teeny bit of texture here and on the walls and stuff in here.
But definitely popcorn ceiling in the other place.
Yeah.
But there's like there has been updates to it. It has a new refrigerator, newer stove, newer washer dryer.
Yep. And it just seems like kind of the ideal place for us to get as a vacation rental, so we're gonna get it and fingers crossed nothing dramatic happens in the interim,
Yeah.
So anyway, regardless of all that, it's been an interesting day, and it fits into an interesting. Well, we tried. Yeah, this is our second attempt to purchase an income property. We pulled out of escrow during the first attempt because we discovered something that made it such that the property we were buying was not. We did not have was not what we thought we were buying. We thought we were buying something that had two available rentals on it, but one of them was not considered a rentable space by the county because in order to make it such, we'd have to have done a remodel on it, basically. And that was not what we had signed up for, right? So we pulled out of that escrow, and now we've entered into another one at a different place. I'm actually even happier with this place because it's right down the street from us. So,
Show media, do you want to do the numerology for the house number? What is it again?
7112.
7112.
7112 Snyder Ridge. And we shall, we'll see what happens. We'll keep you all updated and whatnot.
Yeah.
But,
Ooh, interesting.
with real estate, you can never count your chickens until escrow closes.
Mhm.
that's
That's
what
true. It's true.
that qualifies as hatched. And I did this dumbass thing the other day where I failed to put this one piece of paperwork in the envelope that I was sending to this Mass Mutual place to receive a death benefit. So I called them today, ascertained what I needed to put in the envelope along with the copy of the death certificate, put it in the envelope, stamped it, return addressed it, but we're going to go to that post office tomorrow. And that lady's yelling again. Oh, for God's sakes. Just for God's sakes, woman. I guess that must be how she was raised, right? I don't know. Well, what are you going to do? There are plenty of people in the world who don't behave how you want them to. I cannot do it anymore. I can't. What? You can't continue yelling at your children all the time? I agree, but you seem to be managing just fine. I want to get a megaphone. Shut the fuck up. But, fortunately, I don't have to endure a ton of it because I can't hear it that well. It only happens a couple of times a day, like morning and night, it seems to happen mostly. And I'm not always outside when it's happening, so I don't always have to hear it. On the positive side, I've never heard her use any kind of violence. I've never heard her hit the kids or anything. So, and it's not like she's also not using like belittling language. She's just screaming them things like, I can't take this anymore. And you stop playing these fucking games. So, in that regard, I guess, it certainly could be a lot worse. It just sort of raises the level of horrible style of parenting interacting and not really towards abuse. So what are you gonna do about it? Some people yell. Some people yell at their children. You know, some people yell at their children an acceptable amount. Like, I didn't spend my whole time as a father not yelling at Delilah. I yelled at her on occasion. But it wasn't my standard operating procedure. I never hear the dad's voice at all, though I know he's there. He must not be a yeller, I guess. I don't know if he's getting yelled at too or what. Or just the kids getting yelled at, I'm not sure. But it's like, I guess you don't know that you're gonna hate having children as much as this woman clearly does until you have them. But for fuck's sake. It's like, are you trying to make me sad? I think your daughter must think her name is Sierra instead of Sierra. Anyway, what are you gonna do? Some shitty stuff happens in the world sometimes. It's not a perfectly welcoming and kind place where everyone dances and sings all day long. Can you,
Yes.
thank you. Eric's in his 9 cycle. Like to keep things simple for income until 2027. Well, April 27, 2023, he went into 11.
No, he didn't.
Rachel disagrees, Show
Yeah,
Media.
my app says differently.
Rachel's app disagrees with Show Media's claim. I don't know if Show Media is using a different app or what.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Because 1986 to 2012, 9 cycle. 2013 onward, 9 cycle.
Onward to when? The rest of my life?
Yeah, for the rest. That's your third. You're in your third cycle.
Oh, so there's only 3. Oh, he's talking about a personal year cycle.
Oh, personal year. He's on his personal day. He's an 11. Personal year. He's a 3.
My personal year is a 3. That's what Rachel says. It feels like a 3 year. I've got 3 things to do this year.
Yeah, I'm talking about cycles too. Look.
Okay, 4 things to do.
It's.
Eat, sleep, rave, repeat.
Yeah. Life cycles. 1971 to 1985, 4 cycle. 1986 to 2012, 9 cycle. 2013 onwards, 9 cycle.
Right, but that. And then she says personal year is 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, like.
Oh, well, I think what Show Media is saying is my year will become a 3 in April. So that it's currently at the end of an 11
it's currently a 3, and then it'll be an 11 for his birthday.
No, he's saying it's currently an 11 and will be a 3 on my birthday. So the 2024 is a 3 year for me overall. But the first part of 2024 is not. That's what Show Media is saying.
Oh, I don't understand that. I didn't know that. Okay, so
He's just saying that it switches on your birthday, not at the beginning of the year.
okay. So once it hits your year, okay.
Well, what does your app say is my year from April 27th, 2023 through April 27th, 2024? Probably Show Media. You guys are just using a different app, I would guess.
Unless it's period ending, his period 11 period might be
Ending when?
ending April 27th, 2024. That might be it.
Yeah, well, so her app is calling my 11 year and 11 period, but it's also calling, I guess the other thing's a cycle or something.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Mine. Yeah, 4 ending 2027. I mean April 27, 2024.
Some emotional setups, you say? What does that mean? Yeah, according to Rachel's thing, it's a 3 personal year, which is a year of extremes of emotion, either joy or sorrow, a year to be creative and self-expressive, a year of carefree freedom. So this is my 4 personal month. Focus on practical matters. Well, we are doing that.
We are doing that, yeah.
It says it's my 11th personal day, a day for insights into the higher purpose of life. And it's my 4 period. This is for a 4-month period of the year leading up to your next birthday. May cause life to feel a bit slow moving, dull, and awkward. 1 step forward, 2 back. The periods of a year start and end on your birthday, unlike the personal year and months, which run from calendar year to start of year. I see. Okay, so personal year actually goes January 1 to January 1, but the 4 periods of your year go from your birthday to your birthday. That's what Rachel's app says. Was it C.S. Joseph? Who? The best teacher show media ever had? Yeah, it was.
He is a great teacher.
Yeah.
He knows a lot of books and tells you to read them to get the information.
Yeah. Means things looking bright, hopeful, getting you all emotional, excited, and then getting the rug pulled out under your feet. Oh, I see. It's certainly possible. I've also heard that message in a tarot reading from Lou, which is certainly not a bad thing to hear. You know, it's like makes you more risk averse, makes you more cautious, and that's rarely a bad thing, you know. I anticipate already that we may run into some delays or whatever with the county regarding like permitting or something. I'm not sure how it works, etc. So it's gonna be some TE to deal with all that shit. And you know, TE means a lot of unexpected and unexplainable delays. So I'm prepared for some of that, you know. Certainly I'll keep an eye out for those kind of experiences, and we'll see how the magical frame performs as an indicator about what our experience is going to be. I've not found it to be a very reliable indicator in the past, but and of course, you know, even if shit does play out like that, that's not a good reason to believe that we should trust that indicator. You might need more alone time than usual to keep things healthy and balancing your relationship, Rachel, says Show Media. You know,
Time 7 year.
I've heard from a couple of people talking to Rachel on a couple of occasions that, or I've heard indications from several sources over the years, I guess, that Rachel needs to make sure that she gets alone time, defends her personal space or something.
Yeah.
It's
Comes
like,
up all the time.
yeah. I really don't think that I am. I don't think it plays out like that with us, right? Like, I don't think I'm encroaching on her alone time all that much. She sleeps upstairs, and we're often up at kind of different times of day. She has a lot of time where she's in her room watching YouTube videos and stuff.
What I'll do is, when I wake up in the morning, I deal with my emails, any messages that I've gotten on my phone. Ow.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I spilled on myself. Then like if there's then I'll like watch a couple of YouTubes and then I go downstairs. That's what I do.
And the other thing to remember about alone time is for most people, when we're talking about them maybe needing to preserve or sustain sufficient time by themselves, we're talking about people who say work all day at a job where they at least somewhat engage with people, and even if they don't, they're not having any time of their own determination, you know. So then it becomes kind of important that for people in a relationship, they are able to sustain some time with their partner and time with for themselves, you know. It's really not an issue with me and Rachel, you know. I don't think so, do you?
No, I know. That's why I don't know. I kind of laugh at that stuff because like.
Of course, show media, I think, is saying that specifically in linkage to numerology, right? But we've had other people indicate that more like in terms of, well, Rachel's an introvert,
yeah.
Needs time to herself,
Yeah.
or maybe even an implication that Eric's kind of a lot to handle.
I've never gotten that. I've never.
Like I said, on some occasion there may be that implied mechanism underneath it that you're an introvert, I'm an extrovert. The extrovert's gonna want more steady contact than the introvert or something. I don't necessarily think that's the case, really, but that could be sort of the mechanism underlying some people's comments regarding that.
It could be a deal breaker, actually. Not a deal breaker, but it can be a real like problem. There's an episode of Sex and the City where like the main character has just moved in with her boyfriend and there's boxes all over the place and she's like at the end she's just like I just need 10 minutes to myself or like 5 minutes, something like that. I just need 5 minutes to myself. That's all. And I just need for me, okay?
For me, that brings to mind the episode of Friends where Chandler's gonna move in with Monica, and Monica starts crying. And someone says, "Like, what's the matter?" And she says, "I have to live with a boy." But as boys go, I think I'm pretty easy to live with. You know?
Oh yeah. I'm.
It is the case that the other night I bothered Rachel when she was trying to sleep because
That wasn't. But that's like
wasn't
typical
typical,
thing.
right?
No.
That wasn't how things typically go. I think that had mostly to do with Rachel being cranky on Adderall.
Yeah, I get cranky on Adderall. I hate that part. I'm gonna go in if that's okay.
Of course, Charlie. I didn't expect you to come outside.
I did. I know. I wanted to. Oh, Squires.
What's with the old Irish lady accent? Who, me? Do I have an old Irish lady accent? Go gather some peat from the bog. Or is that more British? Is this more British? What Irish people typically spend their days doing is gathering peat from the bog to heat their rustic cabins on the moors. Then, periodically, for entertainment, they go snipe hunting. All the while drinking alcohol. This is the stereotype of the Irish. Is it true? Well, there are probably some Irish people who uphold the stereotype.
What? Irish people?
Irish people drinking a lot of alcohol.
Oh yeah, my whole family. McCurgan. Hello.
But I'm sure there are also plenty of Irish people who do not drink excessively. So I do know that like England and Ireland both have a fairly high per capita rate of alcohol consumption.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's nothing inherently bad about alcohol. It's just a lot of people ultimately end up encountering problems with it, you know? A lot of people, but not everybody.
Not everybody, yeah.
While I was high, I realized the channel name Talking with Famous People is like a joke, but also a reality that it's like a show, therefore host Eric. It's obvious, but I never realized it. Well, actually, it's more like, as I've said before, everybody I talk to on the channel is a famous person. And well-known celebrities are celebrities, but they're only famous people if they come on Talking with Famous People. Galactus World Eater. Hello, brother. Hello, Galactus World Eater. Are you here to eat Earth, or are you going to spare our planet, move on to a different world?
Thank you for the coffee. It's really good.
Sure. Do you think there's a relationship between how fast time flies in your head and your aging process at all? Is it healthier for time to move slowly rather than fast? Oh, it's just your gamer name. Oh, phew. I was afraid you were an actual eater of worlds. Well, I don't know about that, show media. I mean, I don't think it's healthy to be bored, and time moves most slowly when you're bored, right? I will say the following other thing about time, the passage of time, from my experience, and I don't know if other people feel the same way, but time moves faster the older I get. When you're a kid, like a week seems like forever away. Um, Now the months just drip by like an increasingly leaky faucet. I don't know. It could be an SI fourth thing that it takes you a while to get a grasp on how long things take, although that's probably a TE thing as well. I think that also the older you get, the more you recognize that time's running out. You feel a certain amount of urgency, but that comes and goes with me, you know. You've got Early Girl, huh? Early Girl is a strain I haven't heard of in a long time.
I've never heard of it.
It's a strain that, as per the name, buds early in the season. So it may even be a cross with that one strain that people never smoke, but that buds like basically continually after it reaches maturity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the reason people don't smoke it is it has a low THC level, but they may have um, they may have because I don't know if you know this Galactus World Eater, but there is actually a third kind of marijuana besides indica and sativa, and that third kind is the most readily producing butter, but it's not good because it's got low THC in it. You know.
One of the shoulds that I should do is plant and garden.
Well, that is a should we need to do. We need to, yeah, auto flowering. Ruderalis, yeah, auto flower, exactly. You know all about what I'm talking about. Most weed lets you down today, and the good stuff never lasts. Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be let down by weed when you smoke it all the time, like I do. I'm not even sure what these strains are we're smoking, Galactus, because we kind of came up on them. We came up on this weed that just um, it came in the mail to us. Like it wasn't intended to come to us, but we were moving at the time, and somebody who was mailing weed saw that our house was for sale, and we were apparently weren't living there because we were staying in a hotel nearby, and and they put our return address on some weed that they were trying to mail to people, but they didn't put enough postage on the weed, and so we just got these packages full of weed. And we've been smoking it ever since. I was like, we've had this weed, it's lasted over a year now. That's how much weed we got in the mail. And, I mean, I smoke weed like this, you know, like steadily. Now, granted, Rachel doesn't really smoke that much flower anymore because she coughs a lot when she does. Rachel prefers these things. This has concentrated, and it's one of those like disposable ones that when you buy it, it's got the battery and the concentrate all combined into one thing. This is a lot less coffee. You have white rhino in 15-liter pots, just turned to flower. B Zealand. What's B Zealand? Oh, New Zealand. I see. I thought you were commanding me to be Zealand. Looking at the strain Future One. Okay, I will. We are gonna buy some seeds. Hi, Acacia. Here's a couple of strains that I'm looking for. They're a little bit heirloom. I'm gonna try to get Super Jack if I can find it. A seed for Super Jack, a couple seeds of Super Jack. I really like Jack Herrera, and the best Jack Herrera I ever had was this one store sold this strain called Super Jack. It was like Jack times two. All the Jack qualities of Jack Herrera, taste of Jack and everything, just like magnified. It was great. And so I'd like to get Super Jack. I'd like to get Northern Lights because I grew that once before back when I was in college. And it was spectacular. I don't want to bum Eric out, but I feel like I must mention the digital clipping.
What?
What do you mean digital clipping? You mean the audio? Is it happening when I get those is it happening when I get those is it happening continually? Huh. I wonder what's up with that. Huh. I didn't know I could mute. I can mute. Okay, well, I don't know how to exercise it. Does that change anything? I could take it out of this phone holder. Is it being squozen too much? Did that change anything? It might be. It might be the. Oh, okay. It's not the phone holder, huh? All right. Well, I tell you what. I actually have a solution for this potentially that we can try, but I'm not sure if it's gonna let me change microphones midstream like that. Let's see if this does anything. Okay. I'm gonna try this in a second here. First, I'm gonna meow the meow, and then in just a second, you're gonna see me meow the meow. How about now? Can you hear it now? Even before I plug that in, it starts crackling, huh? Well, I'm not sure if it's going through this mic or not. Does it sound different? Less clear? How about now? Does it sound different? Does it sound like it's switching from this mic to this mic when I plug it out or unplug it or whatever? Is this better without this lavalier mic? Okay, I'll just put the lavalier mic away then. If there's no crackle, then problem solved. Maybe just needed to switch from one mic back to the other one, you know. So I guess what we can conclude about that is that lavalier mic is shitty. You know, because I wouldn't expect. I mean, granted, this phone has better microphone on it than my old phone did, but I wouldn't expect in-phone microphone to be better than a lavalier mic that's specifically, obviously, it's a specialized piece of thing that's for audio only. I'd expect it to be a better mic than the one that comes with the phone, right? Otherwise, why would you plug in a lavalier mic? Except, I guess you can be far away from the phone. People to the left subscribed. If it has no EQ, yeah, the iPhone mic is absolutely suppressive. Well, this isn't an iPhone. I have a foldy phone. They call it a foldy phone because it folds, and I can set it down on the rail here. So I don't even need my phone holder necessarily. How nice is that? This is why I got it, is so I could do this. But it turns out I rarely use this. Because, you know, like in the commercial, right, there's a conveniently located wall that's exactly at the height they want it to be. And they put the phone on and they're like, hey, look at us. We're taking pictures. Well, let me tell you, those conveniently heighted walls are a lot more rare in real life than they are in commercials. like this thing I have this phone on is a whole arm's length down from me. The phone's right there. So, and I mean, my arm is a little below it, okay, but not that much. It's like goes to here, you know. That's a long ways down from me. Is that an ideally heighted wall? No. It's a suboptimally heighted white thing. Um, I was uh, outside here before, waiting for the doctor to come. I was in the virtual waiting room, you know, and it was very satisfying. Effie, I was just smoking a cigarette waiting, and I was like, What a nice walkway. Where are you?" I'm like, this is our house. And I came out here and said, "This is what, see, it's a nice place, huh?" He's like, "Wow." So I like that. That made me happy. You know, that's third slot FE, right? I like it when people tell me I have a nice house. It's kind of childish, kind of silly, but I'm kind of childish and silly too, so. I would say I'm less childish and silly than a silly child, but more childish and silly than a regular adult. So you do the math. I'm not sure how old I am. It varies day to day. Some days I feel like a real old fashioned adult. Other days I feel like a helpless child. Maybe we all feel that way. A mix and mash back and forth of competent, capable, and up to the task, and incompetent, incapable, and overwhelmed. What's today going to bring? Which set of three things? Usually you get a complete set, right? You don't really split the difference. Is today going to make me feel like I'm incompetent, incapable, and what was the third one again? Overwhelmed? Or is it going to make me feel competent, capable, and up to the task? Only the future will know. That's why I've got to wait for the future to happen before I can know it. Oh, sure, we could predict the future, as of yet unknown. We can know potentially that our prediction is correct, but knowing doesn't mean we're right. So, our intuition is a form of knowing. Accordingly, we may know this isn't going to end well. Our intuition could very easily be right about a given scenario, or we could be wrong, Intuition's sharper in some people than others and more appropriately applied in some circumstances than others. Accordingly, the stronger and more predominant, say, your introverted intuition, the less available to you as a conscious means of attention is the other form of knowing. That's why NI DOMs have more unconscious SI in a lot of ways than NI tool with their SI polar. Same with FI. ISTPs, INTPs have more unconscious FI with their FI8 than I do with my FI polar. And the reason to restate what I just explained is because if the encompassing self-defining way of paying attention, way of being, is intuitively knowing, then from a conscious perspective, it entirely crowds out experiential knowing. However, because that same NIDOM is fundamentally a knower, from a lot of sort of testing angles, the other form of knowing, even though it's hyper unconscious, will test better or display better or prove itself more up to the task than will the polar. It's a more effective unconscious because it's got kind of this autopilot quality. And for anybody here who isn't familiar with cognitive functions, I'm sure that just sounded like a bunch of gobbledygook. And I apologize for the jargon-filled explanation, but sometimes I gotta explain things in cognitive function terms. What are the other two? Also, is your number 2 extinction in your view? Oh, now there's more crackling? Interference in some way, you say?
I'm joking. I don't know. It's every time you talk, it does crackle.
Well, then maybe we should use this. To make this louder, maybe I can move it closer to my mouth. Can you listen on your phone and see if in fact it's crackling now? Oops.
Still crackling.
Still crackling, huh? Well, it must be a bad stream, you know? I could end it and start it again, restart my phone. Let's see if it's still crackling now. Is it? Still crackling, huh? Well, it must be a bad stream. Okay. I'm going to end this stream, restart my phone. Maybe probably start another stream for a little while longer? Yeah, okay.